I want to take you guys back to the very first time that you learned to drive a car. Remember how you had to learn to use the gear stick? You had to take your foot off of the clutch carefully so that the car would start properly. When indicating, you had to look left, you had to look right to make sure that the instructor saw you being alert whilst you're driving. And every single thing about that car seemed like it was impossible for you to learn over a long period of time. There were so many mechanisms that went into driving the car itself. It wasn't just technique, but it was also body language. You had to clear your mind because you couldn't have 100 thoughts whilst you're driving because you had to focus at the activity at hand. And there was probably a time in your life where you probably thought that you're never going to get this. You're never going to understand how to move this car. How are you ever going to be able to drive a car normally like everybody else, let alone do things like speeding, going quickly, reverse parking, stopping at the traffic light on time, being able to read when somebody wants to cross and they don't. All these little things that go into learning a car. Now, the reason it was so difficult for you is because the activity you was doing, you was very much new to this activity. You'd never done anything like this before. So because you was an amateur and you hadn't quite picked up all the little nuances that go into driving a car, everything felt overwhelming to you. I want to start off by saying the results you currently have in your life are a result of who you currently are. When you look at success, a lot of the times when we scroll online, we're looking at things like the habits we need to change, the techniques we can do, what's the little tricks I can use to get the algorithm working or get my biceps bigger? Is looks maxing the best way to get women? Maybe I need to make £1 million and then I'll find the woman of my dreams because they all want a rich guy. You basically believe that there's a one-shoe-fits-all solution for most of the problems in your life. I'm here to tell you guys that there's not a one-shoe-fits-all solution for any problem in your life. The success you want is a combination of characteristics, circumstances, skills, and also development plan that you put in place in order to become the person who can handle the success that you want. Up until this point, I used to believe when I was younger that we are all self-made. The personality we have is a construct of our own. We develop these skills ourselves, and basically the results in our life is basically of our own doing. It wasn't until I got to a point in my life where basically I was addicted to drinking, and I figured to myself that there's something going wrong in my life, and it's more than just this drinking because there's other patterns in my life that are also going downhill. And I found myself last year in 2025 just contemplating on all the decisions I'd made up until that point. And I realized a lot of these decisions I was making weren't really conscious effort. I definitely had developed a personality, but I believed I hadn't developed a personality of my own doing. I basically was a combination of the ideas presented to me, the circumstances I was in, and also the influences around me, such as people, places, and things. And this is similar to you. Where you currently are in life, it's not directly a result of who you are. It's basically a direct result of everything around you shaping your current personality. Now, let's say you want to start a business, or maybe you want to get in shape. There's some sort of road of mastery that you want to go down, and you're wondering, how do I go down this road? What's the best route to take? What's the best side hustle to do, etc., etc. Most likely what you're going to do is you're going to be like me and you're going to try to figure out what's the best quick things that you can do to get to that other end very quickly. What you're going to push aside is all the little lessons you have to extract on the journey that are actually going to make you the sort of person that once that success lands, you're going to be able to handle it. So what do I mean by this? Let's go into this. So let's say, for example, you want to get into shape. Most likely, when I was very new in fitness, maybe you were different. I believed that in order for me to basically get in shape, all I need to do is go into the gym and basically lift a few dumbbells up. If I can lift these dumbbells up consistently over a long period of time, naturally I'm going to be big. Simple as, end of story, go home, job done. But what I learned, first of all, I had to confront reality, right? Which is the very first principle I'm going to be teaching you in this video. The problem is we walk through life with this warped perception of how we believe things should be. It's similar to driving, right? You see people driving, and because it looks such like a second nature activity, you believe that when you get behind the wheel, you're going to be doing it all smoothly. But when you're confronted with reality, you realize that one, you're an amateur, you don't know what you're doing. And also you have all these fears. I remember the first time the car started, and I got my foot off the clutch properly and I heard the car go, start panicking. Oh no, the car's gonna explode, blah, blah. What I realized is this isn't just something that I'm gonna have to learn physically. I'm gonna have to learn to mentally deal with this activity in front of me. Now, going back to the gym analogy that I was giving you guys. When I started in the gym, yes, lifting weights was definitely essential in my early gains because any weight that I was lifting was better than the lack of weights I was lifting prior to me joining the gym. But once I'd actually gotten into the gym, I realized that in order for me to develop my muscles really well, I actually had to have a strategy to the way in which I was approaching the gym. Not only that, is there were habits in my personal life that I had to let go in order to actually fully take this fitness journey very much seriously. One of those habits that I can give you an example of is drinking alcohol. I believe that truly I could get blasted out drunk on a weekend, wake up the next morning, and I could go to the gym with the same emphasis and same motivation that I would have, if I was basically sober and woke up the same morning. But the drinking had a ripple effect. And what happened is when I would drink the previous night, the next morning, I'm not feeling so good. I'm feeling very much lazy. I didn't start my day right and I didn't eat in the morning because I'm still recovering from the hangover that I accumulated the previous night. And this hangover would leave me laying in bed for minutes, hours on end. Sometimes I'd wake up 2 in the afternoon and I'm not asleep. I'm just laying in bed watching Netflix on my phone. Something like Narcos or Snowfall. If you ever haven't watched those, you need to watch those. And because of that, when I would wake up, I eventually begin to eat. Now, I'm too lazy to cook and eat the healthy foods I need to do in order to start my day. So what do? Maybe I order a takeaway. Now, the ripple effect of that takeaway is that actually I end up feeling more fatigued than when I woke up initially. And the reason that is because the food was directly having an impact on my energy. Now I've got no energy. Now I'm definitely not going to go to the gym. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the whole story, but what you should see is the decisions you make have basically a ripple effect on the following days, weeks, months of your life. And now when you decide that maybe you want to get into fitness, you believe that naturally you, who's been a lazy person your whole life, never gone to the gym, never worked out, never been disciplined, never been self-motivated, never had self-belief, you're just going to walk into the gym and you're going to pick up all the pieces correctly on the first try and you're going to get into it. That's not how it works, guys. Sorry. The way it actually works is you have to backwards engineer your whole entire personality and character traits and develop new traits that are going to complement the future version of yourself that you're trying to get to. So for example, with me, I had to stop drinking. Now, what ripple effect did that have? Now I'm waking up the next day and I'm not so much tired. I've got energy, I'm able to go there and I'm actually able to get a good workout. But that alone isn't enough either. I need to start looking at the food that I'm consuming. How is this having an impact on my energy? Is this the best food to fuel the person that I'm trying to become, the physique I'm trying to build? So you start looking at all these takeaways that you're accustomed to eating and you realize you need to eat good. But then you're also battling the idea of basically you work a full-time job. So you're looking at videos online and you're looking about things of meal prep. You need to eat these foods, this much protein, this much fats. You need to count your macros and you're looking at all of it. And similar to when you first got in the car, all that information is overwhelming at first sight. You think to yourself, nah, this is too much. I've got a full-time job, 8 hours of the day. I'm going to work. 2 hours of that is a commute. That's 10 hours already. I've only got a certain amount of hours before I need to go to bed. How am I going to fit in all of this meal prepping into my week to make sure that I actually move towards the direction I want to move to? What you need to do is you need to take the journey you're on similar to when you first got in a car. It's a step-by-step process. And through that process, you begin to develop your character and your mindset. Because one of the biggest obstacles you're going to get is mindset. It's funny because mindset is something that we see so much online. It's almost become like a cliche. You need the right mindset. You need to do this. But really, it is a mindset because you need to understand that it's not just one thing you need to do right. It's a combination of things you need to do correctly in order to get that physique. Now look at the journey you're on with your business. Maybe you have this hypothetical business you want to build in your head. Maybe it's a e-commerce business where there's a physical product you're going to be selling, whether that's clothing, whether that's protein shakes, whether that's chewing gum, an energy drink, coffee, whatever it is, right? You have this idea of this store you want to build. And you're starting from ground up. You're going to be building from ground up. That hypothetical hierarchy you need to climb up. You need to build the character traits as you're going up there as well. What do I mean by that? Well, to own a business, you need to build the ability to be a leader and actually hire people. Not only that, you need to have a mission statement that also allows you to motivate your employees to do the activities you need to get done in order for your business to flourish. Which means you're probably going to have to learn communication. You're going to have to learn to relay what's in your head to them in such a simple way that anyone of any age can get it. Because yes, you have some control of what employees are going to work for your company, but really you don't know what age, what ethnicity, what background the person person who's best suited for the job is going to be. And you're going to have to learn to communicate with them in such a simple way. Maybe they've got broken English, and maybe the words that you're using, like how I'm speaking in this video, you need to dumb them down very simply for that particular employee. For the next employee, they're quite academic. They grew up here in the UK or US and their English is perfect. And maybe you can be a little bit more nuanced with the way you explain things to them. And each person deserves a different side of your personality. That skill itself is a skill you have to develop. You're not going to build it overnight. It's something that's going to compound over a long period of time, and it's practice. That practice is eventually going to get you on the other end, where you've actually not only just developed a new skill, but you've become a new person altogether. Because think about it. When you're an employee for a job, the only problems you have are the problems that are directly impacting your life. Now, when you're a leader of a company, you not only take the problems of the business, but the problems of the employees within the business too. Because if they're not motivated, if they're not well, if they're not mentally in the right place, then your business goes down. If your business goes down, you go down. It's a ripple effect. The other skills you're going to have to learn is you're going to have to change some of the mindsets that you have. Throughout this journey, the first principle I mentioned, you're going to be confronted with reality. You might think that this business is going to be very simple to do. I believe when you start a business, the same way I started this page, I had these narcissistic optimism thoughts that I thought business was going to go by. I thought I was going to get on camera, talk the way I'm talking. You guys are going to click it. Retention's going to be 100%. Video goes viral. But no, that's not the case. There's a whole load of mini skills I had to learn. I had to learn to look into the camera. I had to learn to read my body language. Do I look relaxed? Project my voice. Even though I got a microphone, I still have to learn to speak in such a way that it's consistent. You guys can follow the whole message of the video. The video from start to finish has to have a message that is congruent throughout. I also have to learn editing, filming. I have to learn to upload. I have to learn about thumbnails, titles, and your business is going to have the same problem. Not the same exactly, but similar. It's going to have a wide range of things you have to learn, especially in the early days, because it's only going to be you. Unless you're a rich kid and you've come across this big inheritance that basically allows you to just throw money into the business and buy all the right people from the very jump. Most of those skills you're going to have to develop yourself, and most of the character traits like the resilience, the discipline, the self-belief, the motivation is going to have to come from you. Motivational videos are good to a certain extent, but let's be honest, guys, it's not very motivating when you're actually in the gym picking up the weight and it's very heavy to lift. At that point, you need something more than motivation. You need a long-term vision, a projection of the end goal, and you need to see that as you're lifting up that weight, that physique you want, the success you want your business to have. So the very first step you need to do in order to become the sort of person you want to be is you have to learn to take action and be confronted with reality. Every single time you go into the gym and you pick up a weight which you think you can lift, you're going to learn very quickly and be confronted by reality whether or not that's a weight you can handle. First principle is be confronted with reality at all times. The second principle is you need to respect the process. Guys, I'm dealing with this thing called the algorithm on YouTube, and I'm telling you, the algorithm is a headache. It's still trying to figure out who to share my videos to. Maybe people who are clicking this are really looking for cat videos and they saw Tino's face in the corner and they thought this video is going to be interesting. They're clicking it, they're leaving it after 2 seconds. The algorithm doesn't know it's the wrong audience, so it's just thinking my videos are not that good quality. Maybe they're not. And there's times, guys, I wake up and I just wish that this journey could go a lot quicker, because I have so much I want to share with you, but I have to respect the process. When you first get into a car, maybe you have an ideal car that you want to get in mind. 5 Series, BMW, E-Class, Mercedes. Maybe you're ambitious. Maybe you want a Ferrari, a Porsche, a Bugatti. But let's be honest, before you can even get that car, you need to learn to drive a basic car. You might be learning the car manual. And no matter how hard you work at driving, there's only so much you can learn within a day. Human beings, we have a limit to the capacity of learning we can take on board within a day. Some people can learn more than others, but at the end of the day, we all reach a rooftop which we can't break through. So the process of mastery is very simple. You need to make sure that you practice and you chip away at it every single day. And at first, that's not going to be easy. One of the first mental barriers you're going to see is that you're so used to getting instant gratification. You want the results today, right now. And you're going to have to learn to basically be patient. This is why you have to learn to respect the journey. You have to learn to enjoy it. Each single time that I click this video, I don't want to record. The minute I start speaking, you can see I put this desk here because there's no actual notepad and pen. I don't really script these videos, guys. I think of a title and I just start speaking to the camera. Now, why do I do that? Because what I'm trying to learn is free associative speaking. If I want to take my business where I need it to go, I need to develop the skill of being able to come up with ideas on the fly, get into a flow state. I used to want to be a rapper. And if you know anything about music, rap, there's something called a flow. A flow is basically when you get immersed into an activity over a long period of time, and it becomes so natural to you that you just end up doing it without too much thought involved in it. You see this with athletes when they get onto a win streak, boxers when they've got win, when they're going into the ring, they're letting their hands go, they're bopping and weaving. Mike Tyson in his prime is a great example of this. And this flow state that I develop doesn't start off easy. I start off just like this videos, and you're gonna see little takes cut because the video's moving along. And that's not necessarily because I'm stopping and I'm scratching my head for half an hour. It's because I stop. I give myself a quick 5 seconds to breathe, and I continue going. I continue making my point. And this is the art of learning to enjoy the flow. And when you're doing this, when you're speaking and you're taking action like this, whether you're in the gym, lifting the weights, that weight that you've got on your arms is going to basically take away all your attention from your thoughts and put you into the present moment. And understand the way in which you stay on that journey is you understand that the end goal is the person you're becoming. You're going to become the sort of person who can get immersed in mediocre activities over weeks, months, years, hours, whatever it is. And that's what's required to run the business that you have in mind. Principle 2 is respect the process. And the third and final principle is always remain a student. Human beings, we have this big problem. I remember when I was younger, I used to believe that when I'd reach the age I am now, 31, I'd have life completed. I'd have the white picket fence, the beautiful wife, trophy wife, dressed all sexy, whatever it is. She comes home, she's got my dinner. Here's your dinner, Tino. And I thought, you know what? Life will be solved. Box tick, end of story. But I'm very far from where I thought I was going to be 10 years ago. And you might be feeling the same yourself. Think about when you was a kid. Where did you think you would be at this point in your life? Who did you think you would be? Are the problems in your life the problems you thought you'd be dealing with? You're probably dealing with the same problems on loop, just like me. If you told me at 15 years old, for example, that I was going to have a huge drinking addiction and that I would actually have to basically mess my life up, get into debt before I actually start taking my life seriously, try rapping, try photo shoots, try modeling, try club promotion, all these activities were going to shape who I am before I start my YouTube page and my social media page, I would have said, nah, that's too slow. I need something today. But what I realized as I got older is that I have got a lot more to learn. And you have to remain a student. When you're the sort of person who believes you've all got it all together, life becomes boring. This is why I believe things like vices end up taking over your life, is because you don't actually have a mission for your life. I speak a lot on this page about things like identity change, because I believe the success you want isn't a result of what you do, but who you become. All these little components that I'm speaking about, your confidence, your discipline, your ability to do activities over a long period of time, these are like muscles that you're building in the gym. You're gonna have to do them for hours, years, before you get to the other end and you finally reach that mountain peak and you say, yes, I did it. And this video isn't about motivation. It's to let you guys know I wasted so many years thinking that I could jump from side hustle to side hustle. If I just do this for 3 months, I'm gonna be at the other end. I got to the end of the 3 months, I haven't got the results I wanted, so I jumped to the next thing. The results aren't something I've got right now. And if I knew these 3 principles that I'm teaching you now, I might have been in this position a lot sooner, and this channel will be a lot bigger by the time I'm 31. But here we are. We can't look at the past, we can only go forward in this world. So leave a comment what you guys got from this video. What journey are you currently on? What are you trying to build? Is it a physique? Is it a business? Is it a mindset that you're trying to develop? Have you got character traits which you want to leave, which you developed in childhood? We all got flaws, and it's only when we're honest with ourselves that we can actually begin to start moving forward. My name's Tino, guys. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, share. Let's go.